One of the things that was interesting in the follow-up to the Rebel News and David's arrest was that also that he was handcuffed, and understand he was taken to behind a school nearby and then released. That seems to be the strange thing. So it was almost an immediate release, and yet at the time of the arrest, the discussion was that he was being arrested for assault, which seems like a fairly serious crime to get released that quickly.
Yeah, I would suggest that the arresting officer probably didn't have the full support of his colleagues.
We're going to look at the video and be able to, let people, I guess, decide if he was doing anything that was out of line, that he actually, it didn't seem that he even touched Minister Freeland.
Freeland, how come the IRGC is not a terrorist group? Why is your government supporting Islamo-nationalism? What? What are you doing?
You're under arrest for assault. Why are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault.
Who are you?
You're under arrest for assault.
Police, you're under arrest for assault. How am I under arrest? You bumped into me.
You pushed into me.
I was just scrubbing. I got my credentials here and you just bumped into me. So excuse
Police, you're under arrest.
What is your name and your badge? What is your name and your badge?
You've been told you're under arrest.
Why am I under arrest? He blocked my way. What? I was just scrumming Chrystia Freeland.
I'm a police officer. You're under arrest.
What is your name and your badge?
Assaulting a police officer.
How is that possible?
Okay, because
you assaulted me.
There was no need, absolutely no need for the arrest in terms of that. And I mean, I'd like to point out that whether he's a journalist or not, some people are saying, well, he's not a journalist. Well, okay, even if you think he's not a journalist, there's no, this is not a country in which security officials can just grab citizens off the street. You'd still be entitled to walk up to her, and people do this with celebrities all the time and say, hey man, are you, a famous person? Can I have your autograph? I mean, they do that all the time, right? So, and you shouldn't have to get arrested for those sorts of things. It was a sad moment, but probably one that the Rebel's going to make a great deal of money from.
So after viewing that video, it does seem that the issue was around, the handcuffing, and it almost seems in looking at it that it seemed, I mean, I've seen some commenting on this that people think it might have been a little bit of a setup too, that they knew that he was coming. Everything seemed to go fairly perfectly for people to move out of the way.
Yeah, it did. It looked like there may have been, I mean, you can't see the police officer's eyes, but if you look at it closely, there might have been a sort of, hey, quick over here sort of thing. I mean, his head doesn't move, but it looked like a practiced maneuver. And right. I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's absolutely nothing wrong with a security officer blocking somebody in terms of that, as long as he doesn't aggressively move towards him. And he didn't, but like I said before, there's really nothing wrong if you execute that blocking maneuver correctly. To look at it from the police officer's point of view, if you just turn around after you bump and just kind of hold the guy, just gently touch the guy's shoulders and say, oh dear, are you okay? Is everybody okay? And you sure? And just hold it up for the 5 or 10 seconds that you need for your boss to get to her car or get the distance that she wants, if that's what you're doing. But the you're under arrest thing was just, and then handcuffs, that was really, I mean, I'm being a little light about it, but that sort of stuff should not be tolerated in a liberal democracy. No matter what you think, and everybody always does the caveat with Rebel. I'm not a fan of the Rebel, but as I mentioned earlier too, I'm not a fan of all kinds of journalism products, but I'm a big fan of freedom of the press, and everybody gets to do their thing. I mean, you want to be a lefty organizations, you want to be righty, go ahead. I mean, that's an entirely different form of journalism, and it caters to niche groups, whether you're environmental one or you're hard left or hard right or whatever, libertarian. I mean, shouldn't we be celebrating our diversity and having all of that? And maybe all of that or none of it is my cup of tea, but that's really not my business. People get to set up their business and do whatever they want. That's freedom of the press.